All right, my friends, for this final segment of our 199 B-side episode for New Year's Eve here on MediaMonarchy.com, we're going to blast through Obama-Saya and the Apostles of War, the Christmas 2010 edition. And nothing says Christmas and hope and change like Obama prepping an executive order for indefinite detention. And more on that from ZeroHedge.com. And as long as we're talking about fake political puppets, George W. Bush unharmed after security scare. The Telegraph reporting on a sports car that careened onto Bush's Dallas front lawn for reasons unknown. The plan to turn post office trucks into Stasi data collection nodes. That should be, of course, no grand bit of new news for you. You should know, due to a lot of the executive orders back in the late 70s that established FEMA, also established the post office essentially as the reorganization outlet. The way they're going to tell you where and what work camp you should report to in the event of martial law. In an era of heightened security theater, foreign diplomats and the TSA share a bumpy relationship. That's from the Washington Post. Again, from the District of Criminals, this time WUSA9.com, passengers and US ACLU critique random bag checks that we have already reported to you have been going on and have started at the Metro in D.C. Meanwhile, in Peoria, they are pursuing pharmacy ID checks. And it's interesting because Peoria is used as that generic term of, oh, will it play in Peoria? Will this go down in Middle America? Will Middle America sit for naked body scans, TSA groping, ID checks, checking for your papers? So imagine your grandfather going to get whatever medication he may need at the pharmacy, but not being able to, so he doesn't have his proper paperwork in order. And I've said it before, but you just think of all the old folks, the people who fought in wars to keep us free and are now, unfortunately, in the twilight of their years, realizing, hey, this all seems like a setup. Government agent Hal Turner gets 33 months in prison, wouldn't you know? A Raw story reporting on that, and again, we followed that story for you throughout the year. Hal Turner, provocative, racist online radio host, started to get really outrageous and call for violence and called for death threats against federal judges. He got arrested for it, went to prison, and wouldn't you know it, he was on the FBI payroll. Hackers hacked into his account and show communications between he and his FBI handler. And again, you'll never hear that in the mainstream media when they report it. Cryptagon reporting on an Associated Press article, nearly 1 in 4 students too stupid to pass the U.S. Army entrance exam. And our last note on this, Obama-Saya and the Apostles of War posting the Christmas 2010 edition, Fake Terror and the War for Your Mind. That's from the SOTT report, SOTT, sign of the times, getting into the Newburgh 4, the Fort Dix 6, the Portland tree bomber, and all the other, as we just said, provocateur events from the intelligence agencies, paying, fostering, making these events happen with generally people who could have never have pulled it off on their own. Let's shift now to last week's News Purge, the 1223 News Purge. Merry Christmas. I don't want to fight tonight, and that is the Ramones, and that video is embedded for you on this posting. But let's blast through all the updates. 9/11 updates, deal reached on aid package for 9/11 first responders, and Jesse Ventura hammering the official Pentagon 9/11 story on the latest episode of Conspiracy Theory. That one's from Op-Ed News, and the deal reached on the aid package for 9/11 first responders is from the Associated Press, and those are a couple of 9/11 updates for you. BioWars and EnviroHealth, anti-smoking drug Chantix blamed in suicides and was poorly tested. Surprise, surprise. On the 199th anniversary of the New Madrid quake, out of this coming from the DallasSouthBlog.com, FEMA urges the public to be prepared. And from GreenChipStocks.com, the Great Honeybee Conspiracy. On to geopolitics. Thanks to the Seattle Mideast Awareness Campaign, with a link for you, Israeli war crimes, your tax dollars at work. those signs have already begun showing up on Seattle Metro buses. Amazing. And another note on the mysterious death of MI6 spy Gareth Williams. The keys were found under his body inside the duffel bag he was in, and of course all the experts have said there's no way he could have done that himself. This wasn't an accident. It wasn't it's a sex game gone wrong. He was a spy. He was murdered. An amazing article from David Kaczynski, the Unabomber's brother, part 1 of Ted and the CIA. Let's do it. Let's hit that link just for the provocative first paragraph. Was my brother, Ted Kaczynski, a.k.a. the Unabomber, a sort of Manchurian candidate programmed to kill by our government in a CIA-funded thought control experiment gone awry? I hope you'll excuse this provocative question, especially since I don't know the answer to it. Ted and the CIA, Part 1, written from the Unabomber's brother, David Kaczynski. And going even further back into history mystery, John Wilkes Booth's relatives hope DNA will settle the grave mystery. More on that from Boston.com. And our holy hexes, good Lord, Saddam Hussein had a Quran written in his blood. He also thought he was the reincarnation of Nebuchadnezzar. And interestingly enough, Pat Robertson, religious broadcaster, questions harsh pot laws. That, again, is from the Associated Press. And like my man Clyde Lewis says, they're going to give us weed, but they're going to take everything else. On to the media and memes. Fox News graphic, the little graphics and chyrons and all those things, the crawlers and the bugs. They labeled a Holocaust survivor and Nobel Prize winner as a Holocaust winner. More fine work from Faux News. And an interesting one, another interesting discovery from Cablegate, and I immediately sent this to my man Freeman of Freeman TV. Anna Nicole wreaked havoc in Bahamas, getting into ambassadors having to resign and just all kinds of shenanigans that gets into what was possibly some sort of thanks for the memories style mind control scenario. The murder and mayhem, the purse from the Florida School Board vendetta shooting, which we reported on for you a couple weeks ago, was sold on eBay for over $13,000. We also had 3 charged in a high-profile Virginia Highland murder. More on that from Examiner.com. And we'll close out this 1223 News Purge. Merry Christmas. I don't want to fight tonight with our Oregon oddities and West Virginia worry. The Woodburn bank bombers, Bruce and Joshua Turnage, head to death row. They both got the death penalty for the bank bomb incident. You may recall we reported on for you here on Media Monarchy. Meanwhile, Oregon robbery suspects turn out to be a female duo and say it all started as a joke. Our couple of notes of West Virginia worry. New Senator Joe Manchin, former governor of West Virginia, apologizes for missing the votes on Don't Ask, Don't Tell and the Dream Amnesty Immigration Act. He said it was because he was already booked for holiday parties, but anybody will tell you that that's just bad politics, that as a brand new senator already under contentious situations, you don't miss important votes at the end of the year. You're just going to look bad. And the other note of West Virginia worry from Slashdot, West Virginia judge ends a massive porn lawsuit, and we'll leave it to you to go check out more on that. As we'll jump to our final posting here, and it's going to be just about our final posting on MediaMonarchy.com, not counting, of course, this very episode you're watching right now. The end of 2010 and the Up All Night News Purge. We'll get to the Up All Night in just a few moments, but we're going to start this with 10 New Year's resolutions or resolutions for nonviolent rebellion. This coming from the excellent activistpost.com. And just quickly, my friends, number 1, buy local food. Number 2, become more self-sufficient. Number 3, get healthier. Number 4, buy silver and gold. Number 5, expose the agenda. Number 6, boycott, boycott, boycott. Number 7, local politics. Number 8, military refusal, which we could maybe file under boycott. Number 9, don't use banks. And number 10, tax resistance. 10 New Year's resolutions for nonviolent rebellion, my friends. Going along right with that from blacklistednews.com, top 10 survival PDFs you should download. and I did, and you should as well, because even Ashton Kutcher in Men's Fitness, gets into becoming a prepper, prepping for Armageddon. And if this isn't a bad portent, Geraldine Hoff Doyle has passed away. She was the inspiration for the iconic We Can Do It poster, World War II-era propaganda. Nickelodeon's Illuminati-themed show House of Anubis hits America. Ohio woman says markings in pistachio looks like Jesus' face. And the Pentagon's Christmas present to us all, the largest military budget since World War II. Kurt Haskell, the underwear bomber witness, writes a piece on Christmas Day 1 year later. The New York Times claims global warming creates record cold weather. Meanwhile, Daily Star reporting that this winter may be the coldest in 1,000 years. ClimateGate TV covering the mocked meteorologist getting the last laugh. Afghan war to escalate in 2011. That's from HindustanTimes.com. U.S. government can't account for billions spent in Afghanistan, but we'll keep going and going and going. Cindy Sheehan writing on her website, Cindy Sheehan's soapbox changes don't ask, don't tell to don't go, don't kill. Meanwhile, around the world, North Korea declares a sacred war, and Cablegate shows the DEA's global reach. That is an important article from the New York Times showing what the Drug Enforcement Administration has turned into. And again, getting back to our drugs, Wall Street wars connection. Other documents detail the CIA's Cold War hypnosis push. Of course, that comes from Danger Room. Swiss judge seeks atomic secrets trial for CIA moles, again from the New York Times. Pope's child porn normal claim sparks outrage among victims. That's from the Belfast Telegraph. Researchers claim ancient human remains found in Israel. Meanwhile, Iran hangs a Mossad spy. And then we get into the Terranoia threataganda in time for the holidays from NationalTerrorAlert.com. Thermoses could be used as bombs. Meanwhile, cargo that flies over the U.S. doesn't get screened to federal standards. That's from the Washington Post. From the Sacramento Bee, a pilot who posted a video of airport security calls his critics naive. Meanwhile, obscene, threatening comments posted on an anti-TSA website traced back to, wouldn't you know it, Department of Homeland Security. Meanwhile, Congresswoman warning U.S. homegrown terrorists a global threat, and former CI Director Hayden warning of the homegrown terror threat. So look to see the homegrown paranoia only grow and grow in 2011. Meanwhile, from tc.indiemedia.org, documents prove Iowa FBI created terrorism enterprise for great statistical accomplishment. Meanwhile, one tip is now enough to put your name in the database, officials say. More on that from the Washington Post. EconomicPolicyJournal.com noting ex-CNBC reporter was warned by the CEO of General Electric, Jack Welch, that if you keep doing these stories called market-moving stories, meaning stories that would make any reasonable investor make a decision about buying or selling, you are going to get your brains blown out. Meanwhile, trading places, just in time for the holidays, Obama considers another Bilderberger, this time Altman, to replace the previous CFR Bilderberger, Larry Summers. And the birther meme grows. Hawaii's governor wants to reveal Obama birth info. That's from the Associated Press. Meanwhile, Chris Matthews wants Obama to produce his birth certificate. That is on video for you to watch. We also want to note, of course, that the birther story originated with the Democrats. It was just misdirected, as so many other things are in the political shell game, to make it look like it was a fringe right-wing thing, and you saw people like Orly Tates get out there, and you knew it was done for. But we'll see what the new year brings. Where the 200,000-plus crowd lives, hint, it's not West Virginia, West Virginia being the 50th on the list of where people that make over $200,000 live. And our last note, we were going to play a clip, but we've run out of time, my friends. Portland hears about regime change from the fantastic 9/11 Truth Alliance, going there, talking to our leaders in person. And there's no other way to wrap it up, so we'll do it quickly, my friends. Thank you so much for making this an amazing year for MediaMonarchy.com. Your support will help keep this going. My name's James Evan Pilato. I'm your host and webmaster of the site and show, MediaMonarchy.com, reminding you, as always, in this new year, don't hate the media, become the media. Take care.